We have another one of object lessons that we use in the office to leave some kind of word picture in people's minds. It's very valuable. This is my grandfather's landline. It was a party line. He got 2 rings. He knew to answer it. If it rang 3 times, it was for somebody else. This is good for talking, but it's rather primitive, and it only is for communication. This does the same thing. It's my cell phone, but it's an alarm clock. It's my daily log. It's an Encyclopedia Britannica in my pocket. This is a smartphone. This is a phone, but it's very limited. So this is a phone that is not, I mean, the sky's the limit, and they just keep adding more things. It even tells me things I don't want to know and knows things that I don't want it to know. So this is a smart appliance. This is the difference between heaven and hell for me, and I go from one to the other and hardly realize the transition until something happens. What this does is these extra contours are purposely put there to guide my tongue like a boat ramp up into my mouth and out of the back of my throat. A normal dental appliance does not necessarily do that, and in fact may impede that and create other issues. But it looks like a regular dental appliance, and a lot of people go, oh, my dentist makes those. Well, he makes an arch for them because it has to go to the arch. But the way this is made and how it interfaces with other appliances or contours and dentistry is a major breakthrough that's about to occur, and you can be a part of that. This is the biggest paradigm shift that will ever occur in dentistry. I thought we had it with implants. You get this, you are now positioned to enter a decade of changes in dentistry, and you will be a part of that revolution or wave. And the momentum is already picking up. You do this every day, because when you do a crown and it sits out too far or too little, you know what happens when it's too thick or too big. But no one has ever said anything about the tongue in the context of our dentistry and being crowded or not functionally adjusted so that the tongue has room to get where it's going. I've left this out because you hear my voice starting to break up, and I do a little thing called clearing my throat, which drives my wife crazy, and she says, go get that fixed. And I've been everywhere, and they look down my throat by pulling the tongue out of the way, and it looks great. But when they let that thing slap back in there and go down, they don't realize that standing or laying back, it's beginning to tighten up and go south, and I am now, figuratively speaking, choking. But in reality, I really am. Because if you take a ceph, a side view, a lateral view, and see the position of that tongue, it looks like a rugby ball stuck down there. There's no airway. And other times, in other people, it could be in the wrong position, and that tongue needs to be swaddled by the structures, and it's lost in space. And the autonomic nervous system is having just as much of a problem with that as it is too much, too far down the throat. It ain't just one way. It's got to be the right way. You can drink too much water and drown, be in too much water, or you can be scarce and be dehydrated. There's a balance in everything, and that's why we call it balancing oral function. So if the tongue doesn't have a place to go or has too much of a place, it's in an airplane hangar and they've over expanded the arches, that's a problem too. Too narrow, you start seeing all kinds of things like Tourette's. And we've been there, done that. You shut that down with an appliance. You can do ortho, but you better know where you're going, because if you over go it the other way, you got another problem. And this is what is the big shift is looking at tongue and function. It's that simple. And we do it every day whether we like it or not. You stick this thing in and those contours are too big. I just saw a lady repaired her appliance, but I changed the relationship of the tongue because I thickened the occlusal surface, just the thickness of a wire screen, and would change her sleeping pattern, change her, in my case, the voice, but that's just a symptom. And all of that turns into bigger stuff. The average patient comes in here and says, I have a year-round allergy because I constantly clearing my throat and I have this clear postnasal drip. And they also are clearing their throat and sighing and yawning. And I say, well, suppose that all went away today. And they're like, can't happen. Well, just suppose it did. You wouldn't be mad with it. And they go, no, they're clearing their throat again. They know they do it. Just like my wife, she's always telling me to get something done about that. Something wrong.